Hi everyone, good morning. I hope all of you are having a really good day until now. Welcome to our crowdfunding webinar organized by the Atma Network. So, before we start, let me brief you a little bit about us through this short video.
Often, a lack of resources and expertise prevent even the most high potential organizations from maximizing their impact. The Atma Network aims to provide strategic support to such organizations and social enterprises at a click of a button. Since 2007, Atma has worked with more than 50 NGOs in Mumbai and reached out to more than 80,000 beneficiaries. Through our experience, we have assembled.
Okay, I believe there's some echo of the video. So, what we're going to do is we will start again with the video and then we'll move on to the next part of the webinar.
Often, a lack of resources and expertise prevent even the most high potential organizations from maximizing their impact. The Atma Network aims to provide strategic support to such organizations and social enterprises at a click of a button. Since 2007, Atma has worked with more than 50 NGOs in Mumbai and reached out to more than 80,000 beneficiaries. Through our experience, we have assembled a large collection of useful how-to guides, templates, readings, best practices, and examples. Enough material to create an NGO self-help library. And you get all of this for free. With Atma Network, you will understand at what stage your NGO is at present and which of the 10 organizational developmental areas you must focus on in order to become bigger, better, and stronger. Our hope is that by giving young NGOs access to this information, they can become more autonomous and accelerate their own growth. Interested in checking out the network? Sign up today and get started.
Thank you everyone for watching. I think we just got a little drama added to our introductory video. Well, this was a little brief about Atma Network. So, as you all have already seen, the Atma Network is a free online platform that aims to support and guide NGOs in order to strengthen their internal processes and systems. So, we are also trying to connect NGOs so that they can do much more through peer learning and overcoming and helping each other with their challenges. We also help organizations understand their progress and we help them plan better. So, as a continuation to the same effort, we have started our webinar series where we try to solve the challenges that NGOs are facing in different areas. And so, today we have the pleasure of having Mr. Akshay Bhardwaj here, who will be walking us through the basics of crowdfunding. Akshay has graduated from BITS Pilani with an engineering degree and has worked in the fundraising space for last 1.5 years. He has worked with NGOs like Nirman and Robin Hood Army in his college time, and since joining Keto as the senior business development manager, he's worked with more than 200 NGOs pan India, helping them design their long-term fundraising strategies and engage with their retail and institutional donors in real time. So I would now like to invite Akshay to continue with the webinar. Over to you.
Good morning, Jigyasa, and thank you for the generous introduction. Thank you to Atma Network for organizing this webinar. And a warm good morning and thank you to all of us here for taking your valuable time out to attending a webinar of crowdfunding on a Wednesday morning. Thanks a lot, and I hope this is as fruitful and as relevant and helpful for you as this is for me. Before I start, I just want to point out a few things. So this is about the basics of crowdfunding. So there will be a lot of questions. So there will be a lot of things that might be unanswered. And I really hope that you ask a lot of questions so that maybe if others have the same questions, they can get answered. And since there are two question answer sessions, I hope I can answer all of the questions. If there are any remaining, I would love to take time after the webinar also to answer one on one. Just one more thing. Since, as you already know, I work at Keto, so you will see a lot of examples in this presentation regarding Keto. But I will try my very best to talk about crowdfunding in general and not just limited to Keto. So with that, let's start. So I think the number one question that everyone, when it comes to something as new as crowdfunding, is what is it and why do it? So I'm going to start with what is it? What is crowdfunding? So crowdfunding is, I would say, the oldest method of fundraising in history. The concept of CSR grants and government aid, government grant, institutional grants, they're very new concepts. But the concept of, hey, I have a project, I have a certain enterprise that I want to start, and I need funds for that. And I'm going to reach out to my brother, I'm going to reach out to my parents, I'm going to reach out to my sister, my relatives, my colleagues. This is how people have been raising funds for thousands of years. And now crowdfunding does the same thing and it takes it to a worldwide level using the internet. And this is what crowdfunding is. It's pooling small sums from a large number of people to achieve your financial goals. So keeping all the techno babble aside, basically what it is let's say you have a budget for the year or for a particular project. Rather than looking at it as a mountain, that this is the amount that I need to raise and how do I go about it? It's 10 lakhs, it's 1 crore, it's 5 crores. So crowdfunding is about breaking that big mountainous amount into smaller goals, into smaller targets, and then reaching out to a substantial number of people, starting out with your network, with your friends, relatives, colleagues, supporters, past donors, volunteers, and reaching out to them and slowly reaching out to people outside your network to raise your target, to raise funds for your goal. Now, what is the need to do this? So I think the most common question that I get is that I already get a check, a big check from an institution or a corporate or maybe the government. So when I'm getting checks of crores from the government or corporates, why do we need crowdfunding? And I can tell you very frankly that when it comes to crowdfunding, you will at least initially not be able to raise as much as you can from the government or from a CSR grant, simply because people like you and I may not be able to give even collectively as much as, let's say, Reliance can or Yes Bank can. But crowdfunding is very important because no matter what kind of work you do, you need grassroots support. You need public awareness. So let's say for your particular project, you raise a certain amount, which is, let's say, only half of your goal. But instead of one corporate giving you a check behind closed doors, there are 100 people, 200, 1,000 people donating small amounts. And those 1,000 people, every person today has at least 100 contacts in their phone. Every person today has hundreds of Facebook friends. So through different platforms, everyone can reach out to hundreds of people today thanks to the internet. And thanks to crowdfunding, the awareness of your project can be spread around to tens of thousands of people, if not more, all around the world. Another important facet I would say is expanding your donor base. So let's say you can get a check of 10 lakhs, which is your goal from a corporate or an institution. But that doesn't help you implement your project because the people that you're doing it for, they don't know anything about it. But when you do it through crowdfunding, those people are actively involved. They're stakeholders, they're shareholders in what you're doing. Not literally, but of course, they feel a personal stake in the kind of work that you're doing. So let me just talk about the two pillars of crowdfunding. And the number one pillar I would say is individual fundraisers. So what are individual fundraisers? So when I say that people have a personal stake or a personal share in what you're doing, what I mean is that rather than the NGO going out in the world and doing everything on their own, you are reaching out to people to fundraise for you, to support you not just by, let's say, volunteering or donating, but by raising funds from their network. So this way you're raising an army of fundraising champions for your cause. So let me just give you an example of an amazing fundraiser. This page looks a little cluttered, but let me just explain what is going around here. So as you can see, this is on the site Keto. So these six people, these six individuals, they ran a fundraising campaign by cycling 1500 kilometers from Delhi to Bombay this year itself. And they did it for charity. They raised 1.76 crores, 1.77 crores. I don't think it's legible here, but it's St. Jude India Childcare Centers. So this is a huge NGO, and these six individuals they raise funds by doing a certain fun activity. So this is an example of an amazing fundraising campaign. And you can see here the amount came from 500 backers, not one corporate, not one government grant, but hundreds of people coming together and donating 200 rupees, donating 13,000, donating small amounts, everyone donating, 500 people donating to raise this amount. So these people are fundraising champions. These are campaigners for this particular NGO, and they've helped and they've supported this NGO by raising funds for them. So this is I would say, the core of crowdfunding, like converting your donors, converting your supporters, converting your volunteers, your helpers into fundraisers, into fundraising champions. So with the number one reason why, I think the most important question that I get about this is that why put all this effort? I can get this same amount from one of my corporate partners or from, let's say, a government grant. So why do I do all this effort and make this page and reach out to hundreds of people? So let me just tell you the number one reason, and that is expanding your donor base. Now, how that works is, let's say the NGO runs a fundraising campaign, and the NGOs normally fundraise throughout the year. You reach out to people to donate to your cause, to donate to your project, right? But right now the problem is, if you fundraise throughout the year, you're reaching out to the same people. It's the same people that you're reaching out to time after time after time. And on an average, people donate to charity 1 to 2 times a year, maximum three. So after a certain point, let's say you run a campaign in January, then March, June, August, September, December. After a certain point, you cannot expect people to donate again and again. So this is where the concept of individual fundraisers is so important. So rather than you exhausting your own network, reaching out to the same people 10 times a year, your pitch should, and through crowdfunding, this is what the advantage is. Your pitch to them is that, hey, this is my project, this is what I'm looking to fundraise, this is the amount. Can you support me by fundraising for me, for my NGO? So you're not giving the same old pitch. Hey, come and donate, come and donate, come and donate. No, it's about, if you would like to, you can pay for us too. And they can do it on their birthday, they can do it on, let's say you're an education focused NGO, so they can do it on World Literacy Day or Children's Day. It can be any occasion, or maybe it's a particular project. But when somebody in your network starts a fundraiser for your NGO, they will reach out to their friends, they will reach out to their relatives, they will reach out to their colleagues, people that you do not know. So the people who contribute, the people who donate to that person's fundraiser will be new donors for your NGO. So for example, the 500 people who contributed to this fundraiser by these people, these 500 of them were not known to the NGO. Maybe some of them were already existing donors of the NGO, but most of them were new donors. And this is the crux of crowdfunding. Getting new donors and expanding your donor base. Every time a person runs a crowdfunding campaign for you, you expand your donor base. So because of this, your donor base expands throughout the year. So let me just talk about now the second pillar of crowdfunding. So while individual fundraiser and individual fundraising is the crux of crowdfunding, I would say the number two, and I would say almost equally important, is the concept of monthly giving. So let me just talk about another example of an NGO like Teach for India. So I think this is an NGO that most people have heard of. So this is what we call a microsite. A microsite is basically where you can manage all your fundraisers. So all these people who have run fundraisers, for example, the fundraiser that I showed you earlier, all of these can be managed by an NGO on one page, teachforindia.keto.org. So these boxes that you see here are fundraisers. These are campaigns by different people. So over the years, different people have started campaigns and they've raised funds for Teach for India. And the total amount that you see here, that is 66 lakhs, about 43,000, is the total amount that Teach for India has raised in crowdfunding. But again, this amount was not from one person, not from one company, and not through Teach for India's direct efforts. Even different people coming together and raising funds for Teach for India for different causes. Now, as I was saying, monthly giving. So, monthly giving, I would say, is something which is much older than individual fundraising, but something which is neglected by NGOs at an early level. So, if you see the biggest NGOs in the country, from CRY to Teach for India, these NGOs have gone to the next level time after time thanks to monthly donors. So I think this is a statistic which is very crucial that incredibly ignored, and that is the percentage of people who are actually disinterested in monthly giving. Today, people, rather than taking a time out to make a contribution and following up with the NGO, what they would prefer is giving a certain amount, a smaller amount every month that reduces the effort from their side. And also for the NGO, it's a stable source of income, it's a stable source of funds coming in throughout the year. Another statistic that I would say is very important is that monthly donors are three times as responsive as one-time donors. And if you are to, let's say, form a long-term plan, any plan is, I would say, not complete without monthly donors. So this is, I would say, the number one advantage of this is the opportunity to convert one-time donors into committed givers. This also, of course, provides steady source of monthly donations. And when it comes to crowdfunding, there are platforms like Keto that provide the backend, they provide the support so that you can have monthly donations coming throughout the year, and you don't have to do all the back-end work like giving ATG seeds, collecting donor data, and such. So this is an example of another NGO called Just for Kicks, and this is their microsite. You can see different campaigns here. So you can see these two buttons here. Start a fundraiser where people can come, click on the button and start a fundraiser, and they can raise funds for the NGO. Similarly, there's another button, donate monthly. So this basically, the number one reason I think this is helpful is that it expands the NGO's pitch in three different ways. Not just, hey, can you come and donate, but also, hey, you can start a fundraiser or you can become a monthly donor. So you're giving your fundraiser, you're giving your donors different options. So now I just want to summarize with saying that crowdfunding is something which is the oldest method of fundraising, but still in many ways new. And I would say for NGOs that are at an early stage, at a very, very new stage, to expand your donor base and to go from, let's say, tier 3 or tier 2 NGO to a higher tier, I would say crowdfunding is the number one right now at this stage. And even for bigger NGOs, monthly donors is something that you should really focus on. And I would love to end the first part with this. And let's go to question answers.
Thank you, Akshay, for this part. What we're going to do is till whatever Akshay has been able to run through now, we can do a small question answer for everyone. So what you can do is right now we are going to put the webinar into the question answer mode, and all of you can see a little hand button on your screens. If you have any questions, please press onto that hand button and we can give you voice to ask questions. In case your internet doesn't work properly or you're not able to get voice, please type in your questions in the chat box that you can see on the screen again, and we will take your questions from there. Cool. Our first question is from Mr. Srikant, And I'm going to give you voice to ask a question now.
Hi, Shrikant.
Hi, Akshay, can you hear me?
Hi, Shrikant.
Yeah, hi. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. So this in this donate monthly thing that you were talking about right now, I just wanted to understand if there is a way to integrate this with payroll giving or because that is something that we are exploring right now, and we are seeking people who can donate to us on a monthly basis. So I just wanted to get some clarity if there is a way where we can merge these two, or if there's a way of how we can go about it.
So thank you, Shrikant, for the question, and that's an amazing question. So payroll giving is something that is also a very big part of this. So I just wanted to clarify this at this point. This webinar is split into the first part, which is all about individuals and retail fundraising, and the second part, which is more focused on corporates. So yes, in answer to your question, payroll giving is integrated into monthly giving also. But for payroll giving, that is something that involves a more back-end work. So you can directly talk to the crowdfunding platform that you're working with, for example, Keto or any other platform, and the process is the same. The crowdfunding platform will get in touch with the HR of the company, and they will take care of the admin of the back-end work. And yes, through crowdfunding and through crowdfunding platform, payroll giving can also be automated. I hope that answers your question.
Great. So the next question that we have has been typed by Matthew, and the question is it done by the NGO itself or through any agency?
So I assume that Mr. Matthew is talking about payroll giving. So as of now, the partnerships that we have with corporates and institutions and different agencies, this is through the NGO. But when it comes to payroll giving, the whole structure, the back end, the whole system is taken care of by the crowdfunding platform or the crowdfunding agency, for example, Keto. So they will take care of getting the employees' bank account details to making sure the money is transferred to the NGO every month. And if the NGO chooses to, the crowdfunding platform can also send automated ATG receipts to all the donors every month. So everything is taken care of by the crowdfunding agency.
Okay. Cool. So the next question that we have is from Amira, and the question is: if someone joins the monthly giving option, what all detail does a person need to give?
Thank you, Amina, for the question. So one of the important things that we really focus on when it comes to crowdfunding is data security protection. We make sure that whatever information is shared and whatever information that we ask for by the NGO or from the donor, we do not share it with any third party, with any other NGO, with any other agency. So, for example, if somebody selects the donate monthly option, they can select the amount that they want to donate every month. They can then select the duration. That is whether they want to do it for 12 months, 24 months, and so on. And then after entering the details, and the details are very minimalistic, the name, number, email ID, etc. And again, none of this is shared with anyone. They have to finally select the mode of payment, whether it's by credit card or whether it's by ECS, that is monthly debit. So again, the details require a minimal, but just one thing, due to regulations by RBI, when someone selects the ECS option, that is the monthly debit option. Hello, can you hear me?
Uh,
I think the voice is
I
breaking apparently.
I think Akshay, it would be best if you could just repeat the last part of your answer for everyone, because I think if
Sure,
most
I'll
of
do
them
that.
would not able to hear. Yeah,
Okay, so is this better now, my voice?
yeah, it's much better at
Okay,
our end. Yeah.
okay. Thank you. As I was saying, data security is really important. So the data that we require is the amount that you like to donate, the duration, the name, number, email ID, and finally when you select the mode of payment, whether it is let's say credit card or whether it's ECS, that is monthly debit. You just have to put in your card details, or if you choose ECS, your account details, and that is it. When you choose credit card, the process is very simple. It starts right away. But when you choose ECS, due to regulations by the Reserve Bank of India, the bank will send a person to your house with an ECS form to get a signature, and that's it. That's a one-time process. And then every month the money will be debited, and you get a receipt every month. I hope that answers your question, Amina.
So the next question is, I'm going to take it from Anuja, which is, what are the different ways to reach out to more people?
Hi, Amelia. Thank you for the question. I think that question is probably the core of crowdfunding. So, when it comes to reaching out to people, one thing that I would really stress on is homework. So, lot of a mistake that a lot of people make is that they start a crowdfunding campaign and they think the money will just start coming in. That's the mistake number one. And then the mistake number two is that when you start a crowdfunding campaign, you cannot just start reaching out to people then. What is important is to start compiling your existing donors, your volunteers, supporters before your campaign starts, at least 10 days before, and start sending them, at least send one communication out to all of them that you're starting a crowdfunding campaign. And when it does start, you should focus on the first 10 days on your personal network, that is your closest circle, through personalized platforms like email, like personalized WhatsApp messages. And later on, you can use more commercial platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, like mass email, broadcast message on WhatsApp, of course, the personal touch of telephone, of calls, etc. But again, it's really important to have a good timeline and to use social media and to use personal contacts initially to reach your goal efficiently. I hope that answers your question,
Okay.
Anuja.
Okay. So for now, we are just going to take this last follow-up question from Mr. Shrikant, and then we'll
Sure.
continue with the session again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Shikan, I can hear you.
Yes. So I had one more question. Sorry, I couldn't. I thought of it as you were speaking. That so we are running multiple crowdfunding campaigns right now, and so what is happening is some individuals are extremely motivated and they're doing it in a very rigorous manner, and they're really raising the funds that they have set, that they're really reaching the targets that they have set for themselves. But at the same time, there are some other ones who believe in the cause, who really want to do it but are unable to do so. Like they're very demotivated, saying that people are not donating. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've reached out to my personal networks. I've put it on Facebook. I've done all that I could. So then I just want to know what, like, when you reach a roadblock in your crowdfunding campaign, how do you overcome it, and at the same time, how do you keep your fundraisers motivated through the campaign? Because if it's going to last for like 3 to 6 months, how do you keep them motivated through and through as an NGO, as a person from the NGO?
Okay. Thank you, Shrikant, for the question. So I think, and this is something I don't think it directly answers your question, but what I think is really important is targeting. So it's important to know who to reach out to fundraise for your NGO and the timing when to reach out to them. So a common mistake that NGOs make is just casting a wide net, reaching out to every single person in your network to fundraise. I would say that is wrong because that requires too much effort from the NGO and the results are not that, I mean, the ROI I would say is not that high. So firstly, you have to know the right profile to reach out to if they're capable of fundraising and fundraising good amounts. Second, it's important to reach out at the right time of the year. If somebody fundraised or somebody donated just a month back, it's not the right time. Let's say you know your donors very well, you know their birthdays. Send birthday emails to them. They'll be more motivated then because they are personally involved. Reach out to them during important days, like let's say Joy of Giving Week, Diwali, Christmas, etc. But to answer your question, if somebody is already fundraising and they're facing roadblocks, I would say two things. From the NGO side, you really have to focus on the big picture. What you're seeing is a very common thing. When it comes to crowdfunding, you have to look at a year long picture, years long picture. There will be people who raise nothing. There will be people who raise 10 to 50,000. There will be people who raise 50,000 to 1 lakh and 1 lakh plus. And from the campaigners side, I would say just one thing. It's all about follow-ups. A lot of people start a campaign and they just send communication out on the first few days and they don't follow with the donors. People are busy. People are busy throughout the day, throughout the year. So it's important to keep following up with them over different platforms because it takes an average of up to 3 reminders per person for them to perform an action. And finally, it's important to structure your crowdfunding campaign. Not reach out to everyone at once, but reach out to your personal, the closest circle in the first 1 week. 30% of the goal is raised a lot of the times in the first 1 week. And then you start reaching out to everyone else, providing them updates, reaching out to them again and again. That I would say is the basic stuff that a campaigner can do. I hope that answers your question.
Great. So now
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. So as I was saying, automation is something that is incredibly required in today's world. So when it comes to certain processes like sending ATG receipts, like sending invoices, like collecting donor data, this is something which is very, very, I would say, paramount to NGOs. But this is something that takes a lot of resources, takes a lot of money also. These are admin costs that the NGO has to bear. So this is something that can be solved through crowdfunding and again through the power of internet. So one of the things that I would like to focus on are automated ATG receipts. So even today, the 33 lakh NGOs in the country, most of them which are many of them which are ATG receipts still send hard copies of ATG receipts. They have thick booklets and they physically write the names, the numbers, the amounts, all of these PAN numbers and all of these details on every single receipt. And then they speed post or they courier it to people all over the country. This is something that takes a lot of time. Now, thanks to crowdfunding, you can send unlimited number of ATG receipts. Whether you have 100 donors, whether you have 1,000 donors, whether you have 100,000 donors, you can send ATG receipts to all of them, soft copies of ATG receipts, I mean, to all of them with just a couple of clicks. So this is a new tool that is slowly rolling out in India. It's been started by the company that I work for, Keto, and you can send ATG receipts with all the details of the donor filled in, the name, the PAN number, everything filled in to the donors just from your dashboard on your crowdfunding platform or the agency that you use, for example, Keto. Another example is donor data. So this is something which is incredibly useful but ignored by NGOs. Maybe because they don't realize the importance, or maybe because it's just too tough and too cumbersome to do it. So when people donate on an online platform like Keto, the donor details are automatically stored in the system. The name, the number, email ID, address, the amount that they donated, everything is stored. And at the end of the crowdfunding campaign, the database, the spreadsheet consisting of all of the donors' details, name, number, email ID, address, everything is shared with the NGO. So this way you can have one master database of donors from all the crowdfunding that are run from all the crowdfunding campaigns that are run for your NGO throughout the year. For example, Mr. Shrikant said that his NGO has multiple crowdfunding campaigns running. So this way, all of the donors that donate to all those campaigns, you can get one sheet, one database of all those donor details, which you can use throughout the year for different activities, for sending newsletters, for sending event invites, etc. And one last thing that I would say is very important is donor engagement. Thanks to crowdfunding platforms, you can engage with your donors on a very personal, real-time level. You can send emails, you can send SMSs, you can chat in real time with your donors on crowdfunding platforms like Keto throughout the year. And this way, it improves the transparency of the work that you're doing, and it also increases the loyalty of the donors because they feel they're being valued. And this is something that I believe that people should really focus on. So talking about how to engage individual donors. So this is something, as I mentioned earlier, is very, very important. But because of resource crunch, people just don't have the resources or they don't have the time. They're not able to do this as often as they would like to. So one thing that I would say, number one is make your donors give online. As you can see here, online transactions are much more cost effective and the drop rate is lesser because instead of sending an email. So for example, let's say you send an emailer out to all your donors, but you have a project coming up and you would like to raise funds. What is the next step? The next step for them is to maybe call you or maybe a reply to your email that yes, I would like to donate. Then you will share your bank account details or the address where they can send the DD or the check. This whole entire thing is so, there are so many steps involved that people get discouraged and they don't donate. But online, donate using online methods like credit card, debit card, online wallets, net banking, and also cash and check pickups from their homes all over India. This becomes really easy. And in the post demonetization world, I would say this is very important. And again, this improves the transparency because people can see who all have donated, they can see all the data, and data is critical. Online donations help you optimize your donor database and your relations. Next is converting the donors into committed givers. So committed givers is basically another fancy word for monthly donors. First time donors, or as you can see here, have one third the retention rate of repeat donors. And this is where monthly donations are so important. So Keto has recently launched this feature. There are other platforms like Give India and Global Giving that use the monthly program and have been doing this for a long time. This allows the NGO to have a much higher brand of loyalty. This allows them to have much deeper relations with the donors. Also, the projects that you have throughout the year, you can send updates out to your donors using your crowdfunding platform about how what is the progress of the project that they donated to because people love to know that people donate to projects to NGOs not because they're expecting something in return but because they believe in what you're doing, they're passionate about what you do, love what you do, and they want to support you and they want to know what's going on. They want to know what is going on with the project that they donated to. Of course, for the NGOs, monthly donors give you more over an extended period. Other than let's say one person who gives one amount in a year, it's streamlined and it's stable. You have a stable source of funds coming in throughout the year. And again, it offers donors options, not just donating, but donating monthly. Somebody might not have 12,000 rupees to give at once, but they can give 1,000 rupees every month. So it makes it easier for them. And finally, and this is something that I keep coming back to, but this is so important, and that is individual fundraisers. Make donors into fundraising champions. Not only will these people fundraise for you, but they will tell their friends, they will tell their network, they will tell their hundreds of people in their network about the work that you're doing. So maybe, as Shrikant said, maybe somebody's campaign is not doing that well. He or she is not able to raise that much funds now. But the 1,000 people that he reached out to over Facebook, email, and WhatsApp and different platforms might be potential donors in the future. So that's why fundraising champions are so crucial for a donor, for an NGO to expand their efforts and their donor base and their work. And really, it's about the timing. use occasions like birthdays, marathons, events like Joy of Giving Week, also called Dawn itself, and many other days of the year like World Literacy Day, Children's Day, World Women Empowerment Day, Agriculture Day, Farmers Day, to reach out to people. This is a short way of seeing an exponential growth in terms of funds and donors. And again, it would be expensive to do so if you were doing it on your own. So the last part that I want to talk about, and this is something that I won't focus on much, is corporate partners. How do you engage them? Corporates can give you a CSR grant, but most corporates have a lot of big corporates that do this have hundreds of employees, and they have team building activities throughout the year, and they want for the employees to get involved with something or the other almost every month. So how do you take advantage of that? How do you engage the corporate donors and improve your relationships so you can have these relationships last for years and years, if not decades? So the number one thing is fundraising challenges. So let's say, and so let me just give an example actually. So this corporate, Cactus Communications, this is a very small corporate with 200 to 300 employees. But during the drought situation in Latur and different areas in Maharashtra, we reached out to this corporate that hey, you have these many employees. You can split these employees into teams of five, and you can have all these teams start crowdfunding campaigns. One crowdfunding campaign per team. So all of these teams they raised funds, and it was a competition. They made it competitive also to make it more fun for their employees, and they raised 6 lakhs in total, which may not be a big amount, but the feedback that we got from the corporate was amazing. They loved how excited the employees were. They did it for a good cause, raising funds. The company also gets to say that hey, look at this, we donated 6 lakhs to an NGO, but it's actually not their fund, it's the employees doing it. So the employees love it, the corporates love it, and of course, the NGO getting the funds loves it. So employee engagement is something that I would say the classic crowdfunding approach of dealing with corporates. And the second thing that I would say is cause marketing. This is something which is not that common, but there are cases where some corporates they do full scale marketing using newspapers, billboards, and online blogs a certain project that they're doing. For example, this campaign, the Dhun project. So Sony Mix is a channel which I'm aware a lot of people know about. Sony Mix had their 5th year anniversary, and for this anniversary they decided to donate. They decided to start a crowdfunding campaign for musicians who are down on their luck, who don't have much funds to live on. So they started this the Dhun project, and they promoted this in newspapers. They promoted this in on billboards and etc. And they raised 10,71,000. So again, this is much tougher to do compared to employee engagement. That is something like this. But this is something that if you have existing relationships with your corporate partners, you can pitch this to them when they have a big day coming up, a big occasion coming up. Then maybe they can use that occasion to fundraise for your NGO. There are other things that, and this is something that I think I mentioned Keto here, but this is something that most crowdfunding platforms provide actually. So a microsite, as we discussed, individual fundraisers, very important. Ease of transactions. This is something which is ignored but very important. It makes it so much easier to donate online. Social media integration. Harness the power of social media, harness the power of internet to expand your donor base, create fundraising champions, or reach out to as many people as possible. You can send automated ATG receipts, you can get monthly donations. Again, I would say the second pillar of crowdfunding after individual fundraiser. These two are, I would say, the most important ones. Then I would actually, so this is something that I haven't mentioned in the presentation. This is a very new feature that has come into crowdfunding, and that is customer connect. You can discuss with your crowdfunding agency that if you have any donors, supporters who haven't donated in a long time, you can share the details of the donors with them. And a crowdfunding agency with specialized expert internal teams can make scheduled calls and send emails out, correspondence out to your dormant donors, people who haven't donated in 1 year, 1.5 years, and try to make them active. Then donor management tools. But what I mean by this is sending emails and SMSs out en masse to all your donors thanks to crowdfunding. Account management. So account management is in when it comes to crowdfunding, you are not on your own. You are assigned a manager, an account manager who will guide you through the entire process. Since crowdfunding is something which requires a lot of human input, account management is very important, not just inside your NGO, but inside the crowdfunding agency as well. And finally, and very importantly, complete transparency. You can have complete transparency with your donors thanks to donor management tools and automated receipts throughout the year. So this is just a summary of a lot of the things that you can do thanks to crowdfunding, not just on Keto, but on different crowdfunding platforms. But I believe that at any stage of your NGO's journey, whether it's a very small NGO started 5 months back or in 5 years or 50 years, crowdfunding is very, very important to engage with your donors, keep them updated, improve your relationships with your corporate partners, many different things that you can do to crowdfunding, and this is just the start. And I hope that with future webinars and future resources, which I think Atma Network will share with you, different resources that you can check out about crowdfunding, including Keto's website. I hope that this is just the start, and you would really learn, educate yourself, and learn more about crowdfunding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for the insight. So we are going to start with the second round of question and answers, and since now we have very limited time, we can take up a few questions now. If you guys have any questions from the first part of the webinar also, please feel free to ask those questions as well. I'm going to put the session in question answer mode. You can either ask a question by raising the hand button, or you can type in your question here. So I'll just take the first follow-up question from Matthew, which was asked for the first part of the session. The question was, so the fund is channelized through the crowdfunding agency. Is that true?
Yes. Thank you, Matthew, for that question. So how it works is that when you run a crowdfunding campaign on Keto or any other crowdfunding agency, so there will be a certain set duration. So for the duration of the campaign, whatever funds are received will go into the crowdfunding agency's account. And after the campaign is over, after reviewing, once the documents of the NGO are reviewed, the funds are then transferred within 10 working days to, and the duration may vary from agency to agency, within 2 weeks at max to the NGO's account. Thank you.
Okay. The next question is from Anuja. Anuja wants to know, how can we register our NGO with Keto?
So again, this is a very specific question about Keto, but I would love to answer it. The number one thing that you realize is it should be easy. It should not have too many steps. So the way of registering on Keto is very simple. You just come to the website, that is www.keto.org, and there you can have you can click on the login button, sign up, and you just put your NGO's name, a number, and an email ID, and that's it. That's the entire registration process. Just one last thing: once you register, and this is a registration process, but after that you get a mail and a call from the account manager about the list of documents. And these are again the basic documents like resident certificate, PAN card, address proof, etc. And once that is done, you're registered on Keto.
Great. Cool. So, do we have any other questions from anyone else?
So Jigyasa, if right now we don't have any questions, this is something that I would like to expand on. Just take some time, if that's okay.
Definitely. Go ahead, please.
Sure. So I think there's a frequently asked questions that I would like to answer right now, which I'm surprised that I haven't got any questions about, but these are very common questions. Number one, what is the fee? What is the commission? I think that's very important. So I'll talk about just Keto. So crowdfunding basically involves many different kind of campaigns. It can be, let's say, for a startup. It can be for a person, let's say a patient. It can be for an NGO. But whatever the funds are for, the fees, at least charged by Keto, is 6%. It's called a success fee. No hidden charges or any other upfront charges that if you don't raise anything, we'll still charge you. There's nothing like that. Only when you raise any funds, Keto charges a success fee of 6% of the funds raised. And this is similar to other platforms as well. There is only a success fee in crowdfunding, unlike other avenues where you have to give thousands in upfront fees. The second thing that I would like to talk about is the events event fundraising. So this is something that I did not go over during the presentation, but this is something that I would love to discuss right now. So there are different events throughout the year, like Joy of Giving Week, like marathons. Like if you're an education-based NGO, Literacy Day. If you are a agriculture-focused NGO, farmer-focused NGO, World Farmer Day. So when it comes to events, I've seen that a lot of NGOs haven't really taken advantage of such days. So these events like marathons, like where you have people, a lot of people participating, a lot of people buzzing about this day, that is the time that you should reach out to people. That is the time that you can reach out to people to start fundraisers, to donate monthly. So I would say that make a calendar of events in the year, of days in the year relevant to your NGO. It depends from NGO to NGO really. So have a calendar in front of you ready so that you can schedule communications throughout the year in a very structured way on those particular days. The third thing that we discuss is targeting donors. So this is something that I don't know who asked, but somebody asked earlier. I think that's who had about what if someone is not doing that well. So when it comes to that, I have talked about targeting people at the right time. So again, what I mean by that is lot of people, you might have a great database of donors, but the problem is you might not know much about them. There is no use of having a database of donors if it isn't structured well, if the data isn't enough. So let's say and when it comes to crowdfunding, a lot of people log in through Facebook, or they use different platforms to log in and donate. So when they do that, you can get their birth dates also. So these people, they can, so when you have the birth dates and different, the more data you have, the more you know about who to target and when to target. For example, let's say an high net worth individual like a CEO of a corporate might be a better choice as an individual fundraiser compared to a college student. Similarly, someone in an NGO who you have known for the last 2 years or 5 years may be a much better choice to fundraise for your NGO compared to a person who you've known, a volunteer who you have known for only 1 month. So it's really important to not just cast a wide net asking every single person to fundraise. It's important to divide your database into different groups, into people who you can approach for fundraising, into people who you can approach for one-time donations, into people who you can approach for monthly donations. As an important tip, always try to reach out to your past donors and long-time supporters or monthly donors. Always start with them for monthly donors. Don't reach out to first-time supporters for monthly donations. And this one last thing I want to talk about is the concept of partnerships with institutions and corporates. So again, this is something that I did not spend too much time on because crowdfunding doesn't involve that much of institutional funding. But let's say you have a partnership with a school or a college or a university. So you can partner up in different ways with them, not just volunteering but fundraising also. We There was an amazing campaign just few months back where the railway stations in Mumbai were beautified by students of schools and colleges. They went and they painted these railway stations and they look beautiful now. So what they did was the principals of these schools, they reached out to the PTA body, and the parents, every single child's parents in the school donate 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500 rupees. And so these schools with thousands of students, thanks to 100, 200 rupee contributions from each student, were able to raise 9 lakhs, 10 lakhs per school. So this is something, and again, there are some colleges which have MSW programs, Master of Social Work, like SP Jain, NMIMS, and different colleges all over India. There, that they have a course as part of their curriculum where they have to fundraise for an NGO. So make sure that if you have any contacts in such colleges, reach out to them and talk to the professors about how when they do this project where they have to fundraise, how you can have your NGO as one of the beneficiaries. So basically, my point of saying all of this is whether it's people, whether it's corporates, whether it's institutions, whether it's colleges, whether it's anyone, anybody at all, there are so many different ways of using crowdfunding to engage with them and to raise funds over a long period. So just check the resources that Atma Network will share with you about crowdfunding. You come to Ketro's website and check different resources about what all you and find different ways of how you can use crowdfunding to raise funds. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, Great. Thank you so much, Akshay. I have put down Akshay's and Keto's contact details on our presentation right now. You can reach out to them through their website, email address, or the contact number. In case you have more questions related to crowdfunding, you can email them to us at network@atma.org.in, or you can also email them to Akshay directly. um, right after this presentation, we are going to redirect you to our webinar feedback form. Please take a minute to fill that form so that we can understand how can we address your challenges and your needs better, because we want to make this a continuous efforts to solve all the problems that NGOs are facing. Uh, Akshay, thank you so much for taking out this time and guiding
You're welcome.
everybody on such an important topic. Uh,
You're welcome.
Please feel free to reach out to them and to ask for any queries that you have. Also, to keep getting updates on our tool on the Atma network, you can like our Facebook page and LinkedIn page, and you can also sign up for our newsletter. Thank you. Have a great day.
Same here. Thank you.